He's Jim, I'm Alex, and this is the Charging Status EV podcast. Hi Jim, how you doing?
I'm all right, Alex. How are you?
Yeah, not bad, not bad.
You're good.
Yeah.
What have you been driving?
Kia EV3.
Yeah,
Kia EV3. Yeah.
I've got one booked in actually. I can't remember when, but maybe in a couple of weeks.
Oh, right, okay.
I think we must be the last two people on Earth to have driven one. But what do you think?
Really good actually. I've got the GT line, so it's about 40 grand actually. Weirdly, the one I've got, I think it starts about 39, but with the optional paint colour, it tips it to £40,030.
Oh no!
And I do
So
think
luxury car tax for 30 quid.
I do think they could have maybe changed the price on the paint, 'cause it is like 630 quid or something stupid. So.
This is a really interesting thing though. There are so many cars coming out that are literally just over, or if you add a paint option, they then go over.
I don't understand it. It's
I
weird,
don't.
isn't it?
It's like I don't know. It's just like they've completely ignored the fact that this tax exists. I mean, what was it? I can't remember which VW launch I went to. The
Tyron, or
the Tyron.
yeah.
Tyron. It's at 131 quid over, and I mean, in that I think I said it's got 19,000 LEDs in the headlights. Well, make it 13,000, and another car the other day came out. It's like £40,060. And I sort of think I must be missing something, but
Strange.
I mean, with a lot of these cars as well, we are talking about the base trim, and most manufacturers will tell you, if you ask them, that the base trim's only ever there really so they can say from and then have a lower price, but nobody orders it.
Yeah, well, actually, the base price of the EV3 is about 32, 33 for the Air. But yeah, the GT line is what Kia do? They don't have any option extras really.
Yeah.
So if you look at a Genesis sort of configurator, you can configure any version of that car with anything you want. Where the Kias all come with a set amount of options, but for Kia's entry-level EV, the build quality is outstanding. I mean, nothing in that car feels cheap. It drives really well. The range is really, really impressive. Actually, it's just great. Really good.
Fantastic.
Yeah, and it's such a nice little small. Well, compared to like other cars I've been driving recently, it feels like a nice small car. You're not feeling like you're driving a barge down.
Still
down
quite
road,
spacious though, right?
Very spacious. Yeah, and very comfortable. So, yeah.
Have you driven the EV9 yet?
Yeah, I had the EV9 in September.
Oh right, okay.
Last year, yeah.
'Cause that's the opposite.
Yeah, you feel like you are driving a bus. Yeah,
You're a small island.
yeah.
Yeah.
No,
but still amazing, by the way.
Yeah, they've. I don't want to spoil your time with the car in a few weeks' time, but they seem to have knocked it out of the park again.
Great.
So, yeah, really, really quite impressive.
Those three Korean brands, it's just winner after winner, really, isn't it?
It's I don't know how they're doing it. The only downside is their other vehicles are 800 volt, and this is 400 volt, like the new van they've got. So it does mean it charges a little bit slower on about half the speed on DC, so 127.
Yeah,
but that's still fine. You'll still get a really, really good amount of charge in the car at motorway services. So I don't think that's a real issue, really.
And for a lot of people, they're actually rarely going to charge publicly anyway.
Well,
and the super fast charging, as you will know, is sometimes a pain in the bum because it is just charging a bit too fast. Considering the other things that you might want to do, like go to a couple of shops or have some food or something.
Well, I went to film a little charging guide at the Oxford Park and Ride at the Fastned station. So I plugged the car in at 70%, and it went up to 120 kilowatt immediately. So even at that high state of charge, it's still charging nearly its maximum, which is still quite impressive. So, good little car.
Nice.
Yeah. What have you been driving?
Very nice. Mostly my car this week. So I went to something up in Leighton Buzzard yesterday and took the Model 3 up. I gave it a tiny little tickle at the charger near Luton Airport. There's sort of row of Tesla superchargers in a McDonald's car park, basically.
I've been there before, yeah.
Oh yeah, I'm sure
Yeah.
you have. Always hanging around car parks. um, and yeah, that got me to Leighton Buzzard and back. Bearing in mind I'm sort of in Bournemouth, and it took me 3 hours 20 minutes to get there, and a little bit quicker on the way home. Strangely, I just happened to have some luck, I think.
You're going downhill, aren't you?
Well, there you go. Yeah, we're going south, so it must be downhill. Yeah. But I came back, I sort of, on the way there, I went past Heathrow and everything, and on the way back, I cut through, sort of went Reading, came out the back end of Basingstoke, so it's probably a bit shorter in terms of mileage. But I got home with like 35% charge or something.
Yeah.
And it was fantastic. One thing I found out as well is I was on the Tesla supercharger, and it was a busy charging station, so it immediately went to 80%. And I didn't realise, but you can manually override.
Oh,
on
really?
those. Yeah, so it let me manually override, but it put the price of charging up.
Oh.
So it was like 39p to go to 80%. And actually, I was going to go and get some food in a couple of shops I needed to go into. So I thought, I'll just charge to 100. I probably would have gone to 90 just to give me enough of a cushion to get home and have that. So I always like the 20%. I sort of call it the bumhole comfort blanket, because if I'm looking at it and we're at 11%, my bumhole is going to twitch. So I decided to go up to 90, and basically went from 39p to like 53 or something.
Okay. I didn't know they did that.
But it did charge up to 90.
Yeah. I didn't realise they'd charge you more, I suppose.
To 100. I went to 100. Yeah. I was thinking 90, but because I had other things to do, I went to 100.
Yeah, I didn't realise they dynamically changed the pricing. That's interesting.
And again, it even going up to 100, it charged too quickly. So I had to go and move the car, and it was a pain in the backside because it charged too quickly.
And that's even with your Model 3, which isn't even the one that can do 250.
Yep.
Yours can do, what is it, 200, I think?
Yeah.
I think so.
Something like that.
Yeah, so it doesn't charge quite as quickly as the top spec ones, but
it was still charging at 500 and something miles per hour, as they show you in the app.
Yeah.
Which, when you think about it that way, and I arrived with 60-something% charge.
Yeah.
It's not like I was at 20% to get that faster rate. So realistically, you wouldn't need it to be any quicker. And again, I would have liked to have said to it, well, I'm going to be here for 40 minutes. So make the charge take 40 minutes.
Yeah.
So it's going in a bit slower. It's probably maybe a bit friendlier to the battery even. I don't know.
Yeah. That's probably
Maybe
that's probably the opposite of what they want to do. They want to get people in and out, I suppose.
Yeah, I'm sure.
But yeah.
Nobody cares about me.
No. No, that's cool though. Was that a planned stop that you did on your own? Was it the one the car suggested?
The car suggested, because I put the return journey in as well to my trip.
Oh, cool.
So if you do that, it will obviously plan, or you can mess about, and I think you can choose the state of charge you want to be at on arrival.
Yes.
But I usually don't bother with any of that. I just put in the home leg as well.
Yep. I didn't know you could do that. That's quite cool. Yeah.
Yeah.
There you go. Exciting
and
stuff.
I did all that from the app at about 5 a.m. in the morning, when 5 a.m. in the morning, not 5 a.m. in the evening. I did all that from the app when I woke up at an unearthly hour, so that when I went out to the car, I just got in it and drove off.
Nice. Yeah. Good stuff.
Yeah.
Next week I've got the Smart #1, which I'm quite looking forward to. That's been out for a little while now, because I remember driving one of those a few years ago, but maybe good to try out one of those vehicles and see what they're like. But yeah.
Yeah, I hear good things actually. I haven't driven one either, but I hear good things. And what else is out? The 3's out, isn't it?
Yeah, the 3, and then there's a 5, which is like, I think it's a Mercedes GLE or something along those lines
Right. Okay.
underneath, but it's quite a big SUV, the 5. But yeah, the 1, the 3, and the 5. So yeah.
Apart from their incredibly poor reliability, I always enjoyed Smart as a brand. And I know the cars were a bit of a joke to a lot of people, but actually they were incredibly well designed and good fun. They just weren't very reliable. The mad thing is, I think Swatch did the design and Mercedes did the mechanicals, and it was the mechanicals that let it down.
Yeah.
Which is slightly ironic.
Yeah. I'd probably be in half a mind to think that they're probably fine now, because they're half owned by Mercedes and half owned by Geely, and Geely seem to know what they're doing.
Yeah, 100%.
So, yeah, no, looking forward to that. I'm not entirely sure what spec it is, but it should be quite good. The only thing I remember about that car is it's got a fox on the infotainment screen. It's like there's a little fox that walks around on the screen. So,
oh right, yeah, yeah.
Like cool.
Like the koi carp in the Aura.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
I've got the i7 coming tomorrow.
Very nice.
Yeah, I'm really looking forward to that, as is my son, because we're going to Legoland in it on Monday. And a 7-year-old boy in the back of a 7 Series with a 34-inch TV lowering itself from the roof of the car is going to be an excited 7-year-old boy, I think.
I think so, yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
I wonder with that is, I wonder if you've got you'll have to put it in your review, but I wonder if you've got a HDMI port you can plug an Xbox in or something. That'd be quite cool. Don't know if you could do that.
Yeah, I'll have to investigate.
There you go. Yeah.
Yeah.
Very cool.
I think it's obviously got all the TV apps and all that kind of stuff, but
yeah,
it'd be good to see exactly what you can do with it. I'm assuming you can have the sat nav on it and all that stuff.
Oh yeah.
I'm
not sure.
Obviously, it's a car that's really the 7 Series. Although it should be a good car to drive, it's a car that's really designed to be driven in, isn't it? So we took one out briefly, didn't we, at an SMMT day once?
We did. I think shortly after that, I'd had the BMW i5. I can't remember, or slightly before it, but I didn't think the build quality was quite as good on the plastics as the i5 and the i7. Ooh. It might have been just a very small sort of noticeable thing that 10 minutes in a car doesn't really uncover. But I can't. That's the only thing I remember about it. Yeah, very, very impressive, massive car. So you'll enjoy that.
Yeah, I'm really looking forward to it, actually.
Yeah.
If I haven't had, like, I don't know, if money were no object, I'd always have a land barge type car like that over a big SUV.
Yeah.
So it's sort of a car that should be right up my street. So it'd be interesting. But it's years since I've driven saloon cars on a regular basis. So really looking forward to it, and hoping to be surprised in a good way.
Nice.
Yeah.
We're recording this on Thursday, 26th. Yesterday there was this interesting deal on the Citroen Ami, because there's a new facelifted version coming soon. I think you saw one at a motor show you went to recently. And I think Citroen are trying to clear stock out, basically. And they've knocked like $3,000 off the list price. So it comes down to 4 and a bit, I think. But that means that the PCP deals on it are pretty impressive. I think you can get one for like £22 a month with £500 down. So I made a little video on that last night, rushed that together, and did that. But yeah, I thought it was quite interesting, and it seems like a load of people on Twitter have scooped one up last night. So
please don't PCP though, people. It's not a good idea.
No.
£5,000, just buy it.
It's 4.5.
Yeah, well, buy it.
Yeah.
Don't PCP it. Buy it.
Yeah.
So by the time you finish PCPing it, I haven't looked at the terms, but I'm sure there's a nice balloon payment on the end. But I think a lot of people don't understand how PCP works, and it works like this. Say you've got a car for £10,000, and you put down £1,000 deposit, and then £5,000 of it is the balloon payment at the end, and the £4,000 is the bit you've actually really got finance for. So you think, well, they're applying the percentage interest to that £4,000 because that's the only bit I've got finance for, and you're wrong. They're applying it to all of it.
Oh, right, okay.
Yet you're only financing a tiny part of it.
Yeah.
It's
But
like
if you want
a PCP is a great way to lease a car if you want to pay a lot more money for your lease. Generally, in general terms.
Yeah.
Not
Yeah,
every time.
If you want to keep it for 12 months, I think it's a fairly well. If you don't want to buy the car,
lease it.
Yeah. Fair enough. It was a nice thumbnail and headline for a video yesterday, but
yeah,
bit of news there. I was going to ask you about something actually. With the vehicle, we mentioned the vehicle excise duty earlier with the Kia EV3. Do you know if that applies to commercial vehicles? Because there's a lot of these electric vans that have come out recently that they cost more than £40,000.
I don't have a clue actually.
Oh right.
I think commercial vehicles are still a standard flat rate.
Okay, that's all right then.
I think.
Okay, because there's a lot of these electric vans that I reviewed recently are very, very expensive. I was just wondering on a sort of interest level if that was the case. I don't think it is, but
I'm looking it up now. This is exciting. This is live. No, it doesn't.
Okay.
Applies to passenger cars with a list price including options, VAT and delivery fees of over £40,000. Obviously for 5 years. Doesn't apply to vans, pickup trucks and commercial vehicles that are classified as light goods vehicles for tax purposes.
Got you.
Or motorhomes or special purpose vehicles.
Yep. So that, in my head, that applies to, for example, the ID Buzz, because that is essentially the non-van version. That is legally a car.
Yeah.
So yeah, interesting. Just had that written down, so I was interested to see what the options were there. Because yeah, as I said, a lot of the electric vans are quite pricey if you went to buy them. So, did you see in the last few days that there was some? Well, we mentioned it on the podcast with Batch actually a few weeks ago, but the when we reviewed the BYD Dolphin Surf the other day, I don't know if you had it on your video as well, but there was a lot of comments on. Well, there's a couple of comments on my video, but also a few of the people that we know that there's a lot of sort of accusations about being paid to review the car. And again, I know we touched on it with Batch, but have you seen that problem at all? Or
yeah, so I had several comments on the video, but lots of them were just asking me the question. And obviously, I did a video quite recently about this on the back of that JQ thing where they paid. The one that I know of, they paid £20,000 apparently for him to go and make a video and say nice things about JQ. So I had lots of comments on the video, some just asking the question, some basically accusing me. And then I also had a few emails from people. And you know immediately that they've never watched the channel before because I make no secret of the fact that I don't say anything for money, essentially, from a manufacturer. If I'm going to do an ad in a video, it will be labelled as an ad, and it will be pretty bloody obvious that it's an ad because I'll say this video is sponsored by Readly in my best Jeremy Clarkson voice, and you know it should always be really clear when something's an ad and when something's not. And there's no grey area there for me. I'll either tell you that I'm getting paid for something or I won't. And I'm never going to do a car review where someone's paid me to do it. If they need to send me to... If they say, well, we've got to... Say XYZ manufacturer has a launch of a car in Spain and they ask me to go to Spain to do a video on it, I'm going to expect them to put me in a hotel and pay for my flights and my transport. And if they feed me as well, that would be really appreciated. But they won't get a better or worse review on the back of it. They'll get something honest. And I think I get invited to things by manufacturers that entirely appreciate that. And one of them is BYD. So BYD have invited me on about probably 3 events. And at no point have I been asked to sign something to say that I'm going to say nice things or anything like that. If I had been, I wouldn't have gone.
Yep.
At no point has the PR said, could you make sure you mention this or anything like that?
Mm-hmm.
And at no point have I had any pressure whatsoever or any feedback from them about anything negative I've said about a car. But I go to those things, as you do, as a journalist. And some people go there as influencers. And as we saw at that Dolphin Surf event, you know, there were models there. There were like fitness bloggers, influencers. There were tech bloggers, influencers. There were food bloggers and influencers. There were fashion bloggers and influencers. And then there were 1,000 of those, some of whom were sort of laughing about the fees they were getting, like quite openly,
Right.
and saying things like, I can't believe they've paid me X amount to turn up at this because I don't even drive, was a comment I heard from one person. And then there's 70 odd of us in the corner that were just there. I mean, obviously, unlike us, a lot of the people there working for magazines or for channels where they're paid as presenters or something. So they are getting paid to be there by their employers, but BYD won't be paying their employers to get them there, I'm sure.
No.
Where for you and I, you know, we get there under our own steam and make our content.
Yeah. No, it's...
And I think I don't know, we need to be very, very clear about this. What I will do now at the start of some car review videos, I think, is say, just to let you know, I'm not getting paid to be here. I'm not under any pressure to say nice things.
Yeah, exactly the same. Like, no one's ever, even in the 2 years I've been doing this, no one's ever said, oh, why did you say that? Or I've never thought that I should say something nice about a car, even though it's not what it's about at all. And as soon as you start doing that, it just becomes pointless.
Like, and not being funny, the PRs know all the strengths and weaknesses of the cars.
Oh yeah.
So I mean, as long as you're not slanderous, or I don't know, I think if you were ridiculously rude about something for no apparent reason, or you said something that was completely unfair, I don't know, maybe you would get a call. I've never had one because I've never been outrageous, or I'm not that desperate for a click that I'm going to say something that's untrue, you know.
No, I'm not going to mention them, but I've had 3 cars that I've given them quite bad reviews in the time I've done this, and nothing. I've had cars from them since, so it's not something that I don't know. I think there's some people that worry that if they say something bad about a car, they'll never ever get another car from that brand. But as you said,
if so, they shouldn't be doing it, is my opinion.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, you either tell the truth or don't speak.
Yeah, because at the end of the day, like what you mentioned earlier, someone's relying on your video, to inform their purchase decision, and I think it's your responsibility to be as honest as possible. Well, as honest as you can be. Yeah. Just for reference, I think my BYD video has made £5.
Yeah.
So it's cost me more than that to get there. So
let me tell you what mine's made. And this is the reality of it.
I know.
Here we go. People that think we're all bent and taking money from the man. Oh, actually, Alex, this has swayed me. Of £50 and 98p.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, £50, 641 watch hours, 50 quid.
Well, there we go. But yeah, I think I've heard this comment said recently as well, that there are certain reasons why you make videos about cars, and I think for you, well, for me anyway, the main reason is because I'm interested in the new cars that have been released. And it is quite fun to see and interesting to see what all these new brands are launching and what new cars are launching. So there's that. That's a big portion of the incentive to do it, because it is interesting and it is enjoyable to do.
That's exactly the same for me, and of course it informs some of the other stuff that make it possible for me to do this for a living. My lease deals videos and that kind of stuff. And it's just having the access to all these new cars. It's absolutely brilliant.
Yeah.
And do I worry? I mean, I've got this i7 coming tomorrow. If I hate it, and I tell you all the things that are wrong with it in a video, do I think that people at BMW will send me another one? Yeah, they will. Because I'm sure they would rather have honest opinion and honest appraisals of products than everyone being perfect.
Mm-hmm.
Because then why would anyone possibly watch a channel or read an article if every time they get a car it's perfect?
It just seems weird otherwise.
If you love everything about every car, it's odd. And I certainly think there's some of that out there. I think there are people that are scared about giving a negative review of something, and they just shouldn't be. And if they are, to that extent, they perhaps shouldn't be doing it.
Mm-hmm.
But the influencer thing is a weird one. I don't personally understand the value of having a food influencer stand in front of a car, but I'm probably just too old to understand it. It's probably why I'm not very good on Instagram and TikTok and all that stuff, because I don't really understand short form content. I don't consume it. I don't really get it. And I am completely aware of that. So it may be incredibly powerful and something that I just don't understand.
Yeah, I watch some of it, but I don't use TikTok or anything. But I watch some videos and think, oh, that was really engaging to watch. And I was like, how do I make that kind of video about cars and stuff? But it's not a huge priority for me. It's the long form content is more of a sort of like a little production sort of thing, and it's quite nice to get that video looking nice and sort of telling a good story about the car as well. So
you'll have to try and do that at some point. It'd probably improve the videos.
Oh, thanks, mate.
Yeah. That's all right. I jest, of course, folks. I jest. Yeah. I don't have a problem with companies using influencers, by the way. I just think when they do, the influencer has to stick paid promotion on top of it.
Yep.
And because at that point it becomes Gary Lineker advertising a packet of crisps that he's never going to eat. I mean, It's completely fine. People get paid to advertise things.
Yep.
Get it. Not a problem. But when they do, it needs to be clear that it is an advert and not.
It's just a new form of advertising, because people are watching less TV than they used to be. People aren't reading newspapers as much as they used to be. People aren't reading magazines as much as they used to be. They're watching YouTube potentially with the adverts off, depending on what people do. So how else do you reach younger people?
Yeah.
Instagram. So, and if you keep mentioning that brand in places where people are, that makes sense. It worked well for a Moda because they've sold loads of cars, I guess, off the back of some of that advertising potentially.
I think Motability's helped them as well, to be fair. Yeah.
But like these new brands have done something new to get their brand identity out there. I think, if that's how you do it, I don't know. It makes sense.
It's like BYD sponsoring the Euros. I mean, so many people were aware of BYD after than they were before.
Yep.
And that's obviously worked very well for them. And I guess they feel like the brand recognition thing is a big part of it. But yeah, I'd personally be gutted if I got a message from someone saying, I bought a car after watching your review because of your review. And actually, I hate it. And all the things you said were good were actually all rubbish. And I always suggest in my videos that people go and test drive one for themselves because everyone's got different opinions. I mean, I've just put out my video on the Tesla Model Y, and I said things have improved and point a few things out. And I said the suspension's better, but I don't think it's incredibly so. I think it's a bit better. And I mean, I have someone fighting me to the death in the comments, telling me it's 100-fold better and this is better. And well, they said it was on this review, and I'm all right. They got different opinion to me, but
Yeah.
I drive that car I just done literally 100-mile trip in the old one, and the following day I did a 100-mile trip in the new one.
Mm-hmm.
And obviously I know the old one, so I drive it all the time.
Yep.
So I feel like I'm fairly well placed to have an opinion on it. But people have different opinions, so I think it's always important that they go and check out a car for themselves, but perhaps use all the different reviews as a way of shortlisting.
Yep.
If there's something you see in a review and you think, well, I couldn't live with that, then just move on.
Yeah.
But
that's fair.
yeah. But I'd hate it if I thought I'd influenced someone into buying a car by telling them something that wasn't true.
Yeah, it's sort of, yeah, that makes sense. You mentioned what videos you got out recently, so a good place to sort of wrap this up is, what videos have you published in the last week that you want people to check out?
I think I said to you the other day that I'd had a really prolific week last week and I'd got loads done and I was really happy. It's been the absolute opposite of that this week.
Oh, man.
I've got some stuff going on sort of around the channel that's not video related.
Okay.
That's taken a little bit of time. But yeah, I put out one on the new Golf GTI.
Oh, yeah.
Just basically had a press release about that and some sort of footage that's provided by VW, and I just put a little video out on that.
Nice.
That's possibly going to be the last petrol Golf GTI.
Yep.
So that's quite interesting. And then the Model Y review I've released. I've got one coming out on Sunday, actually, which is good used long-range electric cars under 20 grand.
Oh,
obviously,
cool. That's good.
obviously used cars. But I've put together a few of those and given some thoughts on those.
Nice.
And there's a lot now.
I'm not surprised.
And if I mean, well under 20 as well. But if you go slightly north of that budget, when you can get an i4 now, I think I've got an i4 in that video that's all looks ship shape and a good mileage for like 22,000.
Yeah, not bad at all.
Yeah, it's really a great time to lease a new one or buy a used one.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think there's ever been a better time for either, to be honest.
Nice, yeah. I released 3 videos yesterday. I published the BYD Seal review and the Seal infotainment guide, and then literally an hour later that Citroen video. So there was 3 videos yesterday. So
nice.
But yeah, the BYD Seal, I must have mentioned it on the podcast before, but really, really excellent car. The reviews I've got now are coming out about 2 or 3 weeks later than I've driven it, just because of the backlog of stuff I've got. And then I think next week I'm releasing the e-Sprinter review. So if all going to plan. So yeah,
Nice.
Yeah, it's good.
Hopefully that one will do quite well, because like the vans don't get so much coverage, do they?
No, I'm trying to review more stuff. Iveco have just come out with a whole brand new range of electric vans, so trying to get hold of those at some point, and some other bits and pieces. Not so much the diesel vans, because they're not that not that interesting to me, really. The electric ones are a bit more interesting because they are going to be potentially used a lot more in the future. So yeah. And there's always all these kinds of trade-offs as well when you make an electric version of a van. So I find that side of it a little bit interesting. So
yeah, me too. Yeah, diesel vans haven't changed massively in the last 30 years, really, have they?
No.
Just as with diesel cars, the technology's become more complex and therefore more expensive to keep on the road.
Yeah.
But yeah, the electric stuff is, I don't know, it's interesting. Obviously, it always feels a little bit behind where the cars are.
Yep.
But I guess some of that is because of getting the most bang for their buck with existing technology and stuff.
Yeah, it does seem that way.
Yeah.
I did a lot of
really
research
in space.
Yeah. Yeah, I did a lot of research for the Sprinter review because there's a lot of options on it, but also I mentioned in quite detail the driving license information. I don't know if you know, but if you currently want to drive a diesel van, you can only drive on a standard license. You can only drive up to 3.5 tons on it if you passed your test after 1997. But with an electric van, because they weigh more, that is up to 4.5 ton.
Oh, really?
Yeah, they've got special exemptions for it.
Right.
So I mentioned that in there as well, and also the speed limits. So vans are limited to different speed limits on different types of roads. So on a dual carriageway, for example, you can only go 50 mile an hour. So
yeah,
I made that very clear in that video because that was it's an interesting part that I don't think people know. So
right, make that a standalone video and do 2 pieces of short form content with it.
There you go. Yep.
Yeah, and you'll get on the short form content, on the one about the speed limit, you'll get loads and loads of people commenting, which is great because it will drive whichever platform to give you more viewers, but they'll all be telling you you're wrong on the speed limit, and actually they're all wrong.
Yep.
I speak from experience.
Yep. So I think that's a good place to end. Don't forget to subscribe to the Charging Status podcast on YouTube, also on audio on all the different platforms. And you mentioned we've got some guests next time. So
we have, we've got a couple more guests booked in. I'm not going to tell you who they are yet, but they're both really interesting people that are in and around the EV industry, but in a completely different way from just here's another new EV. So I think you'll find them both incredibly interesting.
Nice. Yeah, look forward to that. You can follow Jim on his YouTube channel, Definitely Not a Guru, and also all my car reviews on the Interface Cars. Don't forget to subscribe, and we'll see you again next week.
Thanks, everyone. Bye-bye.